Ooh, might make your head blow off.
Hey yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, Alpha Male God, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
Say it with me now. Alpha Male God, 51 Spade, a.k.a. the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
You know how we do it, guys. We have two topics, 1 hour. The two topics today are, does size matter? And the difference between broke and loyal, rich and unfaithful. It's really versus, one versus the other. Okay, so let's start with that one. We're going to end with does size matter? And we're going to start with broke and loyal versus rich and unfaithful. Now, the only reason why I agreed to do the topic is because I've been in both situations. I feel like I regret though. Wait. I don't even think my broke men were loyal, though. So I actually don't have a lot to say. I've only been with one guy that I feel like was exceedingly wealthy, and he was definitely unfaithful and had very bad character. But I haven't had the other. I've only had the broke part, and I didn't like that at all. I didn't like the word broke at all, so who cares about the faithful part? If you're broke, then I'm probably not going to be willing to deal with you to find out that you're loyal.
I mean, but we acting like broke don't get the draws. Like, broke get the draws. My question is...
Broke gets the draws at a certain time in life.
Nah. Broke get the draws more often than you think because y'all make horrible decisions and y'all get finessed a lot of times. Remember a couple of episodes back, I was like, you got sucker written on your forehead. That's what most broke men go for. But the real question is, which one would you prefer? Because there was a time when I ain't gonna really say that. I'm gonna just say this: when you rich and you just have astronomical money, are you really expected to be faithful?
I'm gonna answer that really honestly. Because I do not believe the basketball wives of the world really believe that their men are 100% faithful. I do believe they go into these relationships either A, knowing because their man told them that they are polyamorous and they need multiple women, or they went in with the understanding that this kind of guy is that way. So I never look at a woman with a really wealthy guy as someone that's broken and, oh my God, he did me so dirty, because it's like, come on, he's Bill fucking Gates. Come on, he's
So you
Dr.
believe
Dre.
in respectfully cheating?
I believe that there is common sense. I believe that there are circumstances that people find themselves in that they can not make light of a situation, but understand how a situation could be this way. If they could just embody
What you mean?
that person's issue, meaning if it were you, if you were Oprah, you're not the rich man. I want you to consider yourself now a very rich woman, and you have everything you want. Is it realistic for someone to limit you in any way? Let's just take the sex out of it. If someone
So
gave
if I had Oprah, you saying I would cheat?
No. I said if a woman had Oprah's money, would she limit herself in any way? Would she limit herself to material things? Would she limit herself to men? Would she limit herself to the types of food she eats? My answer to that is I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say no. A person with that much power, and the key word here is not really money. The key word really here is power. A person with that much power doesn't even think with limits, and then they surround themselves with people who also do not limit them, because it doesn't make any sense for you to give me rules. It's like I'm Oprah. You're Stedman. You stay home. I make the money. You're going to tell me that when I go to Phipps that I need to spend, I got $1,000 budget. I know that's a basic, really simple thing.
That can happen, though.
I get
with,
that.
with women,
We're
that
being
can
basic
happen.
with the example, but what I'm saying is, it would, for her, even though she would do it, probably to acquiesce his wants, to her it sounds ridiculous.
Because women tend to want things to be on an even playing field when men
It's
know
not
it,
even that.
men
It's
know
just
not
that the ridiculous notion that I have all this power and all this money, and for you just feel better if you control it. So when you go to Phipps at the mall, you spend $1,000. Whatever store, that's it. It's $1,000 a day. Even though they might acquiesce to it, which means do it, it doesn't mean they're thinking this is the dumbest shit in the world. Well, I think a very rich man thinks the same thing.
No, we don't.
I feel you didn't let me finish. How can you say we don't when you've been saying this whole entire show we've been doing the show that men with money do what they want?
No,
so when they have the conditions,
I'm talking about what you were saying as far as like Oprah feeling like maybe I'm hearing it
yeah,
wrong.
you gotta be, because I'm just making a same example for a man. If a woman put herself in a man's shoes, meaning take the power out of the man's hands and give yourself all the power, would you want to be limited? You wouldn't. You might.
But
acquiesce to being limited, but you would think it's stupid. Just like a man with a whole bunch of money with a woman saying, hey, I don't want you to look at other women. I don't want you to talk to other women. I don't want you to ever be around other women. Even if he said, okay, honey, he's acquiescing to her. Even though in his mind, he's like, this bitch is dumb as fuck. When I go out of the country tomorrow, of course I'm going to be around other women. It's just something that they do because they think the notion of anything else is kind of impossible. I'm the richest man in the world. I'm in Dubai with all these beautiful women. So your notion to tell me that you don't want me around other women is ridiculous, but I'm going to agree with you so I can pack my shit and get out of the house tomorrow. But it's a stupid notion to even ask a man with all the money and power in the world to limit himself in that way.
So what about a woman? You think a man can? That's what I was asking. Like if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think the woman with money could control that man?
No, I don't think a man is controllable in any way. I think he would acquiesce to being controlled. But if even a dude that's dating a woman with a whole bunch of money, I don't think any man can be controlled. Whether he's the broke one in the situation or the rich one in the situation. I really don't believe you can tie a man down. I think you could be lied to. I think you'd be convinced that that's not happening. Do I think it could actually happen? Absolutely not. It really ain't going to happen if he got money. It's not happening even if he's broke. But if he got money, you really out of gas.
Mm-hmm. So the broke guys that you was dealing with, why did you deal with them and you didn't... and you wasn't getting the fateful part?
I put a timeline on it when you said, girl, you done had plenty of broke. And I said, you're right, but I think we go through that in certain times in life. My brokest guys were when I was broke too. But I just had a little bit more than them, which means maybe I had an apartment and I had a car and they were still living at home with their moms and they didn't have a car. So in some ways, I was just always a little bit more stable than the guy that I was dating. But at my state of mind, I wasn't looking for what he had. I wasn't asking about his credit. I wasn't asking when he was planning on getting a car. It just wasn't on my mind because I wasn't looking at him like he was the best thing that ever happened to me, or I wasn't looking at him like, oh, this is going to be my husband. I mean, I did that when I was 17, 18 years old. I don't think that counts because you're a kid. But when I went off to college, I wasn't dating guys with money. In fact, they was leaving the dorm to come to my shit because I never stayed on campus. I always had my apartments. So I've always been somebody in a more stable position than her boyfriends or the friends she was mingling with at that time in life. Now you get into your 30s and 40s, you're not looking for the guy that's the cashier at the hardware store. I mean, he might be nice, but that's not what you're really looking for.
It's not. But y'all often are looking for dick, and a lot of dicks come with that broke shit.
Right.
Which you're not looking for the person at the hardware store, but the hardware store is giving you the hard dick. So
the hardware store is giving me the hard dick, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, the last broke guy I dated didn't even give me that. That's why it's hard for me to really elaborate on broke dick. Now, I get the essence of broke dick. It's in every movie. It's a part of the culture, so I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that for me, in particular, the broke guy that I'm referring to in my head didn't even give me good dick. The dick wasn't good. So then the money that I was shelling out really became a problem because I felt like it wasn't an even trade. So you know what I'm saying? I got more money than you. I got the pad laid out. I'm funding everything. You can't at least fuck me good?
So the dick was a problem.
The dick was trash.
Okay.
So
You be having some horror stories.
I have
hard
been there.
time relationships.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those things. So would you, if the guy is rich, let's take away your lifestyle. The guy is rich. Are you good with
The unfaithful part.
The unfaithful. Like he got the money, and
I would never limit a guy like that anyway. That's my thing. But I think differently. So now let me speak like most of the audience would think. Hell no. Just because you got a whole bunch of money doesn't mean that you're walking into this relationship with a lack of respect. Again, me, because I want my respect and I'm not a dumbass, I'm going to have the conversation. Look, I know you're rich and powerful, so let's talk about these things. I'm not going to put myself in a situation. I'm just not going to choose naive. But most people don't believe in the things that I believe in. So most people are going to say, you know what? No, if he's going to be with me, he wants to marry me, I want him to tell me that I'm the only one and I want to be enough. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think you're setting yourself up for failure.
I know you're setting yourself up for failure because it's just that reach is going to be way too long.
Well, the reach is long now, and he's just in college. The reach is long now, and he's just in high school. I think a reach is long for a man no matter what. It just becomes longer when you got money.
But when you have money, the reach is real different when you talking about just, I'll give you your analogy, fucking the fine bitch at Best Buy versus the supermodel. Like, you need money for that type of pussy.
Absolutely.
So that reach is what I'm talking about, because now you can put yourself in certain circles and certain shit like that. Like, I remember coming up and my girl was like, once we become rich, like, we can go to the BET Awards and we can go to these award shows, and because you can literally buy your way into those shits, and now you're around certain different type of women that will accept that shit. And I can take that trip really without you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, your reach now just becomes super duper long, but the women that are just
that you have access to.
Yeah, because they can see your ring and know you married, but the money is not even going to equate for that, because you have females that's how they're raised. They're raised to let the man take care of their bills, or they looking for that man that either, if they can't marry him, then he'll fund their lifestyle. So they don't give a fuck about like the wife and any of that other shit. Now, unfortunately, I feel like that's setting yourself up, because that's how them tell-all books and all that type of shit come out. Like, be like, hey, he was funding me for years and paying $10,000 a month and all this other type shit because they done got cut off, and that's the way they gonna make their money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can't be Bill Clinton, get your dick sucked and be like, you can make your own money off of just giving me head. Like, everybody can't do that. I don't think I've ever even met anybody that's pulled off that type of shit. Maybe Ray J and Bill, them the only two I knew. They was like, go out there and get it yourself.
Really?
I mean, with the exception of Ray J wasn't powerful. But what I'm saying is, like, if you look at Bill Clinton, like, she sucked his dick and became famous off of sucking.
Lewinsky, who is she?
Yeah, nobody knew who the fuck she was, but she famous for sucking a president's dick. Like, think about what we talking about. Like he was like, get out there and get your own money. Like, he ain't have to pay no money. He was able to let her go get it. Now, in Ray J shit, he was Brandy's brother. You know what I'm saying? And Kim wasn't really a somebody either, but put in position of a sex tape, he was able to not spend no money on her, and she was able to get it based on just a sex tape. What you mean?
We're gonna move on from the Kim Kardashian.
I mean, you can't get mad because, like, the hoes are out here, and that's the thing about it. Like, we act like it's a bad thing to be like, y'all admit to having a whole period, and then when we start talking about like other women who was in they shit, and I know what you gonna say, that was her boyfriend. I knew you was gonna say that shit right there.
I got shit in my phone right now with my old man. So if somebody discovered it from 10 years and now they're trying to paint the narrative that I was some hoe that was making sex tapes, I would be fucking livid.
But at the end of the day, a lot of times you don't know what you are. You see, a lot of women in their mind be like, "Oh, that's my boyfriend," and then go through his phone or whatever, and you come to find out he was living a double life. Or I was the extra girl. Like, you don't know that shit. So we don't know what Ray J thought of her. We know what she thought in her mind, but we don't really know. That has not been. You know
what? I'm so done with this conversation.
That ain't been concluded that He just went.
Out of all the arguments about
It's not an
Ray
argument.
J and Kim, everybody else has accepted the fact that they dated. They were boyfriend
I'm
and
not.
girlfriend.
No, I'm not saying that.
Nah,
I said,
it's 2021,
I'm not
and
saying-
this fool
I'm
is
not
telling the
saying-
world that,
See,
nah, y'all don't know.
Clean that wax out here. I
Y'all
said
don't
we
know.
don't know what he thought of her or where she was, because sometimes you fuck with chicks and you rank them in different spots. What you mean? Like, this fool is the one that's sitting here talking about, well, we don't know. We know they dated, but we don't know how he viewed her. We don't know where she was on his status. He could have been like, hey, I'm just fucking this fine Argentinian bitch, and then had another black chick or whatever on the side. You don't know where she ranked. What you mean? I'm giving game. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving real game.
Lord have mercy. I'm gonna make sure we hashtag
But-
Kim Kardashian.
I don't need a hashtag.
So that all her
nothing.
fans will watch this particular episode.
I welcome that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a hashtag Kanye West and with a big question mark on with the words why. Like with it. You a strong man, but why? That's what I'm gonna do.
Dead ass wrong.
But I do remember, because I said this, like, not sure what episode, but you didn't agree with respectfully cheating. You thought it was bullshit when I said it.
I think it's the way that it's said, okay? Like, I think the fact that a man would even use the two words together is asinine.
But a woman used that word.
Respectfully cheating.
But a man didn't use that. A woman
Okay,
used
well
that.
then she dead ass wrong. I don't think the two go together in a sentence. I think coming to an understanding and being a real man, a king, I don't imagine that a king would lie to anybody.
So
because he does not have to.
So you won't. Yeah, but this is the thing though. I get what you're saying as far as that in a lame world. And in layman terms, that
I'm
would
not lame, though.
that you know what? I ain't even gonna go there. We gonna leave it there. Let me finish my sentence. In layman terms, could you really think of a man with money and feel that he would explain something to a woman when he making the money? See, that would be your own that would be the only breakdown in your theory, because a lot of men are not gonna answer to their women. So where they probably could have that conversation.
Equate that wealth means disrespect? Where does it say that wealth equates to being a liar? Wealth equates to not being honest. To me, it's the opposite. The more money and power I have, the more I should be able to tell the truth, because I thought that people ended up lying because they had to. Oh, I need to lie to get to this place. I need to make her feel comfortable so I can move to this place.
Who said anything about lying?
But if you're not strong enough to say, hey, honey, I like you. I want you to have my children. I have a love for you. However, I cannot be with just one person. There's nothing wrong with saying that. If you're all powerful and you got so much reach, then you're not going to be mad when she tell you I can't do that. Goodbye.
Nothing is wrong with that. But the issue is going to be that most powerful men don't think that way, because they don't answer to anyone. Like that's the only.
It's not called answering. Answering to somebody is who you fucking or who you going to see.
This is wrong
That's
with women,
answering
boy.
to somebody. Having a conversation with me and telling me that one woman is not enough.
But he might
it's not explaining anything. It's
but-
just being honest.
Okay, this is the thing. A lot of women, a lot of times, and I always ask women this: have you ever met a man that's powerful with money to be a nice guy? Majority of the time, they like he's an asshole.
Why though? For what reason?
We're not asking why. I said, have you ever met a man that's powerful with money to not be an asshole?
No, all of them are. But my question is, like, for what reason?
But I'm not asking for what reason. I can't answer that reason. That's too broad. Each person can think or do how they want. So my thing is, if he has money, it's not about him lying to you, because he might not respect you enough to say that I want to hear your opinion, hear your thoughts about it. It's either my way or highway.
But it's not his way or the highway, because he's too coward to say what his way is. My way or the highway is telling somebody how it is and dealing with it. Not saying anything and just expecting you to just assume that because I'm rich and powerful and I need other pussy, for you just to assume that it's wrong. Be straight up. If you write in the book and you want her to read off that page, then give it to her. Open the scripture. If that's what it is, ain't nothing to it but to do it. It's like you paint this guy of this all rich and powerful dude, but he can't even sit down with you and tell you what it is. That's nuts.
That sounds
I wouldn't respect the motherfucker. I wouldn't give a fuck how much money he had. If he can't sit down with me, not explain anything, I'm talking about from day one that we're seriously dating. Like, I know a decent guy that didn't have $3 or $4 million in the bank when he sat down with me and was like, hey, yeah, I like you, but if we're trying to be in a relationship, you know, I like girls. Mm-hmm. If he could do it, then a motherfucker with all the money in the world could do it. As a matter of fact, any man could do it.
But I'm not saying that he can't. But you're also talking about...
He just doesn't want to.
You're talking about individuals because he might not respect you. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, like, if you take somebody like Donald Trump, like, I don't really see Donald Trump just sitting there telling his woman, like, you know what it is, like, you know, I have all this money and this is what it is. But I think especially from a person that's sitting there and say, hey, you just grab him by the pussy. If he doesn't have respect for you, he don't have respect enough for you to tell you what it is. And a lot of women are good at assumptions anyway, so that's what most men are thinking anyway. They're like, hey, you would be stupid to think that you are the only woman that I'm gonna get my dick sucked by.
And it would be stupid of you to assume
it would be stupid for any woman to even sit there and say, well, he needs to sit down and have this conversation with me.
Every man should be transparent. It's just not stupid for thinking that.
That sounds good that every man should be transparent. Women should be transparent too, but that don't happen.
You know what's crazy is that a motherfucker will say, oh, yeah, he loved her, he married her, he has kids from her, but he didn't respect her. Excuse me for assuming. I'll go on a limb and say I'm a real dumbass person for assuming that if you love a motherfucker, you respect him. I thought, and for an ounce of human decency for a second, that you couldn't have one without the other. Now, I know that you can. I'm sure there are some situations where we can show.
But you've shown plenty of times that can happen.
But the woman who is expecting the same person who says, I love you, to respect her is not stupid. The motherfucker she with that doesn't respect her and love her at the same time is stupid. Not the person that's thinking, you know what, he told me he loved me, then he must respect me. How could you love a person that you don't respect? That's a common sense fucking question. It's dumb as fuck for the person on the other end to say, well, I said I loved you, but that doesn't mean I respect you. That's a retarded motherfucker. And I wouldn't want to be around a motherfucker that can look me in my eyes and say, I love you, but I don't have no respect for you, because I don't need your love if I don't have your respect.
That sounds good, but you've been with plenty of motherfuckers that don't respect you.
And they didn't love my ass either.
Yeah, but I'm quite sure.
Let's make sure we say that.
I'm quite sure that they told you that they love you.
But they didn't. It doesn't matter.
But they told you that they did.
And they did it. So it doesn't change the fact that they didn't respect me and they did not love me either.
And that's what I'm saying. But you didn't feel that way, because I bet you felt that when they said they love you. That they felt that. Now you probably could say later on, as I look back at it, this motherfucker like a lot. Yeah, but when you was in the moment, no, you felt like they loved you.
But a person would have to tell me that they don't respect me for me to come up with the notion that they don't.
We're not going to change the narrative, because we're going to stay on what you're talking about. What you was talking about was, how can a motherfucker say they love you and don't respect you? See, we stay on topic, not try to switch and say, well, years later, looking back at this shit, I feel like he didn't love me or respect me. But while you was in that shit, while you was in the middle of that shit, while he was sitting there saying he loved you and that motherfucker didn't respect you, you was with him playing jackass with suck across your face.
No.
Like yes,
not
you was.
Necessarily.
No, it's not necessarily. No.
I'll let you finish.
No. While all that shit was going on, and then when everything came to a halt, whether you called him cheating, whether you called him with his hand in the cookie jar, it was like, damn, this motherfucker didn't love me. Damn, this motherfucker didn't respect me. That's what I'm talking about. So it's easy for someone to say it. Not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is, people do this shit every day, B.
The problem is this. People say that they love you, and then they do disrespectful shit.
Exactly. But I'm not saying that,
hold on.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
So that's where my mind would have been is, okay, this person says he loves me. I would have never said this person doesn't respect me. I may have said to myself, you say you love me, but you're doing disrespectful things. Mm-hmm. I would have never come up with the notion that you just don't respect me at all.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But when you're being disrespected, whether it's from a man's standpoint or a woman's standpoint, like, I can sit there and say, women then told me that they love me, then women then cheated on me. So then I can go to the notion of, well, the bitch just didn't respect me. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the same. It's the same concept, because what she's gonna say is, well, that only happened one time, or I don't love him, you know, I love you. You see what I'm saying? Well, if you love me, then why are you disrespecting me? So it can happen either way.
That's true.
So that concept that you're talking about, no one wants to have that concept in their mind.
Yeah.
But that shit is there. So that's why I said, like, it's like impossible for you to know what somebody else is thinking. So, and especially now when you're talking about a man that's powerful, that have money. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's super hard to tell, because he's under the notion now of everybody who he basically know asks him for money. You see what I'm saying? So how his respect level be for certain individuals could look at the woman and be like, bitch, fine and all, but the bitch here just for money.
Okay, but this is the thing. And I'm going to say this again. I know I've already said it once, but I want people to really sit with it, especially those who are out there saying, hey, I'm an alpha male, I'm kingly, I am, you know, king of the jungle. You know, there's a certain air about a man that's really doing that shit. And I can't look at a guy at that level and believe he's at that level if he's a liar. And this includes not being able to say what shit really is, withholding the truth, not laying everything out on the table. There's a certain amount of respect that I would have for a man that had all the power in the world and all the money in the world, who just decided that these blessings don't equate to being a fucking liar. These blessings do not equate me to have to really take shortcuts or go behind anybody's back for what? Those are things that society came up with to survive. Lying is a survival tactic. Stealing is survival. These negative things come from our people, our ancestors, just trying to survive. What are you trying to survive when you got millions of dollars in the bank and all the power in the world? What are you surviving? You're now just choosing to be a dick. I don't get it. For no reason. I get it. I did this because of this. Make it make sense. I know there's good and evil in the world. So if you talk to me, I can make sense of anything. But if you have everything in your life, then why are you taking the notion to be a dick? For what reason?
I can make it make sense for you.
Please.
Okay, I'll give you the most. If you can't comprehend this, then you will never comprehend it. At the end of the day, we have a government. Does the government tell us everything that's going on in this world? Absolutely not. They could be real pussy about the shit, or be a real G and be like, hey, we got the cure for AIDS, there's aliens, there's UFOs. They could do all that shit, but they don't, because everybody's mind can't comprehend that type of shit. So to save theyself and save you from yourself, they don't give you all the information that's supposed to be there. And a lot of times, the rich man is the same way. It's just because you sitting there saying, like, well, you got all this money in the world, he didn't get rich just divulging all his secrets. He got rich because he kept a few secrets in the cut. To keep the power. And for him to be on that mountaintop with those limited few looking down at people saying, hey, man, y'all peasants. Like, I got up here on Mount Olympus. Too bad y'all can't get up here. So even though you're saying, hey, I will respect that, I get all that. But at the end of the day, most powerful men don't think like that, because they step on any and everybody to get to where they was. So they ain't do it the gentleman way. They got up there by any means necessary. That's how they did.
And I get that. I'm lost on the necessary part, because at the end of the day, it's not really necessary if you have everything.
That's a woman's thing, though. Like, women, y'all rationalize shit that y'all think makes sense.
No, you guys rationalize shit. You just came up with a whole thing about why it's okay to be a liar.
No, I didn't.
You just rationalized someone being a dick for no good fucking reason.
I didn't rationalize anything. You said explain to you to make it make sense. I didn't have to.
It still didn't make sense.
Of course it didn't. I just said, because for women, everything needs to be rainbows and Skittles.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
it's
do.
just
like,
that I gotta believe you are the king of the castle. I have to buy into that. You know how the king made the country, or all his people believe he was the king, because he had a motherfucker beheaded when they disobeyed him. Therefore, they knew his motherfucking ass did not play. It's no different when you are the breadwinner in your home. You lay down the law, and the people who are going to stay there agree that that's the law. And if they don't want to follow the law, you allow them to leave. You don't turn yourself into a peasant to keep the people in the kingdom. For what?
Everybody didn't follow kings, though, and that's where your theory is actually wrong right there. Everybody didn't follow kings, because just because you call yourself a king and you are saying what this is what it is, at the end of the day, there were people who followed God. If you take Henry VIII, for example, he is the main person that wanted you to just respect him. And people like, well, we can't respect you because we respect God. And he's beheading people because they are choosing religion over him. And you know why? Because king is man, and man can make mistakes. And that's why, at the end of the day, they like, I'd rather follow God than king. So that's why that theory, what you talking about, that shit just sounds good. But just because motherfuckers are king do not mean they trustworthy and do not mean they can lead you into the mountaintop. Amen.
Is it time to switch topics?
I do this.
I'm so annoyed.
I do this.
Does size matter? It absolutely does. Right now, especially while we talking about the rich and powerful. If this motherfucker gonna be a dick, he better have a big one. Go ahead.
You know what?
Piss me off.
What's fucking interesting to me is, not all, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say all. But y'all motherfuckers, in certain cases, always be talking about size matters until y'all run into a size y'all say is too big. Because if size matter, then you taking on all comers. It's like the heavyweight championship of the world, you know what I'm saying? He don't pick and choose like who he gonna defend his belt against. He takes on all comers. But for some strange reason, when it come to women, size matters. But all of a sudden, they turn into pussy when that dick is looking a little like, you know what? This look like it belong on
an elephant
or whatever.
Right.
So, and I'm glad you brought up size matter, because also at the end of the day, I'm sick and tired of women all thinking like they pussy is good, because size matters there too. Because it don't just go one way for the man. See, some of y'all walking around here with stretched lips in the galaxy black holes, and nobody is telling y'all, because every time you meet a woman, my shit good. My shit good. Like, I ain't never met a woman that don't think they shit good. But how are you validating that shit is good? That's what I'm
probably telling her it's good. Why they in it?
Hey, men will tell you anything that they need to tell you, especially when they want to keep getting it. That does not mean...
But why would you want to keep getting some pussy that's bad?
I didn't say that it was bad, but what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that your shit is necessarily good either, or that you even know your size. I told my woman one time.
I don't think anybody knows the size of their vagina except for it's little.
See, now how you come up with that theory that it's little? See, that's what I was about to say, because I told my woman one time that she was medium large, and she was like, medium large? She was like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, you're medium large. You're not small. You know what I'm saying? You more medium, but you're not necessarily large, so you medium large. It's almost like a schmedium. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhere in the middle with a little bit of schmeat. But a lot of women don't get graded on that. And the reason I brought that up is because I saw this meme the other day, and it was like, this lady was sitting there saying like, hey, we've been dating for like 3 months and you still haven't given me no head. And then they showed a picture of her pussy, and her lips had to be probably about that long. And this was like, this was the guy, like, this is why. Like, look at this shit. Like, I don't feel like every woman, even though y'all look in the mirror all day, I don't believe that y'all really look down there to see like what it is. Like, all these pussies don't look the same. So does size matter? It absolutely does. It don't just go on the man though. It can go on women too.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just saying I've never been a part of a conversation with my group of friends or anybody else that's like, you know, how big is your hole? Or how big is your hole? But men have definitely compared the size of their dick. So it's just more common for it to matter with men than it is for women. And by the way,
I get that.
There's no way to measure your hole. If nothing's in it, then it's closed.
Shit.
I don't know nobody walking around with no open pussy.
Listen, I do. And ran into it too. You know what I'm saying? You could pull up shit right now on Pornhub or anything else, but I'ma just say is a man. I've ran into pussies that, you know, they have the flabby, labby lips. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when they lay back, the shit just open up. Like, everything ain't cups. Everything ain't petite. Like, everything, like, regardless of you, especially if you a dicksman like me, you done seen a lot of shit out here. And I'm just saying,
I can.
cause but only men who ain't used to that type of shit. You see what I'm saying? Like that's why they don't get that, because you said like size matters. But I've also heard you say that, you know, well, if a dick is too big, like I ain't going for that. Like you'll turn down some shit that's small when that could be the greatest orgasm of your life. But you don't want to go to the big one or found yourself in situations where it's big, where you find yourself holding on for dear life. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll get that motherfucker a shot. See, shit hit quite home, ain't it?
No, it's the person. Because I've been in a situation where it's like, okay, that's too small, we're not doing anything. And then I've been in a situation where the guy was a little bit too big for my taste, but I liked the guy. You understand what I'm saying? I think if the guy would have had the small dick that I really liked, then it wouldn't have been a question, because I would have liked the guy. I just didn't like the guy, and the only way in was for him to have good dick, and it was too little. So there was no reason for me to explore that. The guy that had the big one is the one that I like. So even though I wouldn't choose this dick for me, but since it's attached to a person that I like, I'm gonna try it.
Man, but if you was real like that, you just would have told him that, hey, that's a little too big for me, and then walk away. Because see, at the end of the day, even though you like that guy, are you with that guy?
No.
Body count and large status. And you don't, and a lot of times with women, this is the shit that shit that I don't be understanding from women. It's like women get their furniture moved around and then be acting like they too small all of a sudden. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, my shit elastic, so it just snap right back. So your one time fucking with a guy that you semi like, because at the end of the day, if your relationship would have went further and you liked him, you would have been dealing with that dick for the rest of your life. And that's what
it would have been a problem.
But if you love him,
we wouldn't have got to the love part if I'm not having no orgasms. You're not.
So why does size matter for you?
It matters because I need to be I need to be happy in my relationship. That's why it matters. If it's too small, I'm not getting off. If it's too big, it's painful, I'm not getting off. Then you're getting in the way of what I'm feeling. Point blank period.
Yeah, but you just said it's about the person. So hold on. So if it was the person that you like and his dick is a problem, because I want you to make shit make sense to me. Like you said that in the last segment. I want you to make it make sense. If you like this person, then you see his dick and you like, okay, I normally would never do this. But you don't even, typically with most women, I don't know how this really went, but this is y'all first time together, so you don't even know where is this going. But you're willing to take a gamble. Willing to take a gamble on the Titanic without even knowing the results, just for a one night stand, whatever, not even to see him again. Or typically most women shit is, oh shit, once he got the pussy, he ain't call you no more, no shit like that. So you took that gamble for what reason? Make it make sense.
I mean, I think we take a gamble no matter what. I mean, you don't know what the person's going to do after they fuck you, whether they were the nicest guy in the world, whether their dick was 2 inches or 10.
Gotcha. But you said, typically, I wouldn't do this. So instead of listening to your mind, this is what I want to make sense. Instead of listening to your mind, what your mind says, I would never try this.
Because I think that the sex was really minuscule to the relationship that we could have had because I liked him. So I was willing to see if this could be something that I can enjoy. And unfortunately, right after, I knew that it's something that I could never enjoy, no matter how much I liked him. So I never pursued that again.
Gotcha. But
so that's me saying, you know what?
But you knew this. But you knew this before you laid down.
I did know that he had a big penis.
But I'm saying, but you knew this before you laid down.
Oh, that it wasn't gonna work?
Yeah, you knew this, but this is what I'm saying, like the stories that y'all tell yourself, like that shit that you saying when you were just a few minutes ago talking about, well, motherfuckers need to just say like what it is, but you won't even say.
But how do you say, you know what, the dick is too big,
I'm leaving.
It's weird. I mean, I guess that's true. I mean,
Listen.
I'll bite the bullet and say I wasn't able to say you're too big. It's definitely easier to say to a guy, well, even when I was with the guy with the small dick, I didn't say your dick is too small. I just found a way to get out of there.
But what'd you say? How were you able to tell someone that you about to fuck that his dick is too little and you was able to get out of that?
I told him I used to be a boy.
That's right. Nah, you wouldn't. So a few minutes ago, you just said Motherfuckers need to tell the truth. If a man is a real man, then he need to tell the truth. But you sitting here lying to a small dick nigga. A small dick nigga. But the big dick nigga you lay down for. Make this shit make sense.
Oh my God.
Make it make sense. Makes no sense in the world.
But I did it it was a long time ago.
See? And we all always
Because
say,
it was I didn't know what else to say, but I know I wasn't finna fuck him. I'm like, I just, Oh my God.
but if you really liked him, and that's what I'm saying, if you would have really liked him, or let's just say, because I'm quite sure that was y'all first encounter, and then the other encounter was the first encounter, and both of those scenarios are the same with different outcomes. For someone that's saying, hey, size matters. Now, I'm not gonna say that size don't matter, does matter, this and that, but I will say that a lot of times in people's mind, like especially with women, when they connected to a man, the sex is just enjoyable to them anyway. So to me, it doesn't really matter what size the guy is, because if they in love with him, true blue, they gonna fucking deal with whatever comes with the scenario. So that's probably why I said, like, a lot of times that upsets me, because I hear women be like, oh no, that dick is too big. I can't take that. But what you're saying
doesn't make any sense to the argument, based on the fact that the person has to be emotionally connected to make an exception. They find a way to come off that guy with the small dick. They find a way to orgasm because there are emotions in there. When you're just meeting somebody, there are no emotions. You really do have to base it on whether this person could get you off or not. Looking at the small dick, I knew it wasn't gonna get me off. That's for sure.
The only hole in your theory is this. Because you are out there being hot in the ass, you were trying to fuck all fast. See, if you would have took your time and got to know the individuals, because remember, like, not too long ago, I read like a tap in where the woman was like, listen, the dude whined her, dined her, they didn't have sex yet. 6 months in is when they finally did it. But it's really because he knew he was small, but he was showing her other things. So once they got to the point where they was actually having sex, and then she found out his dick too small, she, like most women, her time was invested. She's 6 months in, and now she's trying to figure out a way to make that little dick work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not your theory of like, hey, I just met you, so let's fuck. I need to figure out if, you know what I'm saying, this shit gonna work, like right in and there. Like, you can't do that. But if he would have strung you along for 6 months or 7 months, big dick included, your feelings are involved in that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in your promiscuous state, you just hot in the ass. So you just hopping on dicks. And you like, this one too little. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you playing checkers or some shit. Like it just can't work like that. And it works like that for men too. So that's why I said, like, men need to be a little more vocal, because every one of these women believe they walking around with the bomb, and that shit ain't the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've ran into women where I'm just like, listen, this ain't gonna work for me.
But we live in a world where casual sex is just... I say in a room full of people that I don't believe in casual sex, and everybody looking at me like I'm the squarest person in the room. So casual sex is the popular thing now. So you're kind of in a position when you're having casual sex to make a decision quickly once the clothes come off. You know, once somebody take their clothes off, when you're in a casual situation, you have just that little opportunity, you know, to say yay or nay. You know, and it could be quite uncomfortable. It's just like a girl taking off her pants and you smell her odor. You got to make a decision real quick.
Guess what that decision is? I'm out of here. Peace. That's what you mean?
But I'm just saying that could be used in the same field as pulling down your pants and the dick is too small.
But that has happened to me. Like if a woman pull down her panties and the odor is there, like, I'm not gonna sit here and think to myself, like, maybe on the next trip shit gonna smell better than what it is. That's me telling myself lies. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even gonna go that route. So my thing is, because I hear a lot of, I'm gonna say for me, I didn't do this, but I've often heard a lot of women say shit like that. So I understand that men do that, but I wasn't the type that when I meet a woman or I'm at their house, I'm doing the naked man. Like, I don't just pull my dick out with the intents that it's so big that the bitch just gonna be like, oh, let's fuck. Like, it's big. But I hear a lot of women be like, you know, dude was in my house. I went to the kitchen, come back, his dick out. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand.
Because at that point, you know that that's his bargaining chip. You know that that's what he's proud of. It could be, you know, you could meet a guy, he pull up with his car just clean, just shined his rims. Most likely y'all outside talking, he's shining his car. That's the same notion as a guy that's pulling out his dick. That's what he's proud of. And so I'm not saying that I like it, but I'm saying I get it. And the broke guy that I dealt with did that. He showed me his dick to kind of like, I'm the one, stop looking.
But guess what?
You want to stop here.
But did you fuck him right then and there?
No.
Okay, and that's my point. What's the point is what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, what's the fucking point of this shit? Like, because most women that I've talked to have often said the same thing. Like, they like, yeah, he pulled it out. It was big. I like the size of it, but it ain't make me like get horny. It didn't make me like just drop to my knees.
I mean, I won't lie. I was like impressed. I liked the way it looked, and I told him, I was like, you have a pretty dick, but we're not fucking today. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was cool about it because that's his thing. You never know what, maybe that's worked on other girls and that's worked for him in the past. So I didn't judge him that he did that.
I'm not judging.
But, you know, I was able to make it a cool situation. Like, you got a really, really pretty dick. I'd probably suck the shit out of it. It probably gonna make me come, but it's not gonna happen today.
Mm-hmm. And how was the sex?
It was horrible.
Okay, so again,
size doesn't matter. I guess size doesn't matter.
There you go, right there.
Because he definitely had a big dick, but he could not use it.
Because that's the other part of it. Other women, I've heard women often say that size don't matter because they like, at the end of the day, it could be big, but if he don't know what he doing with it, then it doesn't really matter anyway. Like, shit, I can get a boat right now, a yacht. But I don't know how to drive the motherfucker. Yeah. What's the fucking sense of me having a yacht? The motherfucker just looking pretty just to be pretty. And the bitch gonna be like, hey, take me out on the yacht. And I'm gonna say, I don't know how to drive this motherfucker. I just got it for looks. And to me, that's the same scenario. Like, you can pull your dick out and it can be interesting to women. But at the end of the day, you still gotta use that motherfucker. And you gotta graduate the salesman. You just can't have that shit.
It's kind of like you said, hey, we were talking earlier and you were like, hey, you're in a situation, they say they love you. It's not till later that you're out of the situation, you're like, he didn't love me, he didn't respect me. Well, it's kind of the same when you see a big dick. For me, I look for girth. If I see a dick and that that dick is fat, in most cases, that dick will make me come because I like a penis with girth on it. Mm-hmm. Later, after getting the penis, and the girth didn't do anything, that's when you make the assessment that it's not going to work. But there's no way you can look at a penis that you normally would like, that would normally get you off, and just assume that it's not going to work until you do it.
But that's what I'm saying, though. That's why I said, like, I ain't never been in a situation where I'm just taking that shit out just because. Because to me, don't come out unless I'm using it. Like, it ain't coming out, you know what I'm saying? This ain't show and tell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need you to rate or look at me because at the end of the day, we gonna have to be horizontal, you know what I'm saying? For you to know, like, what I'm really working with, or for me to know what you really working with. And some people are sometimes, like, don't have chemistry. I can have the biggest dick in the world, but for me, sometimes, if I don't feel a spark with a woman, that shit ain't gonna really matter anyway. Like, sometimes spark and chemistry and everything of how we working together is gonna be like what it is. So for me, that's not really a situation for me either. So when women say, hey, size don't matter, and you said, well, size matter, and it sounds like now you're changing.
I'm kind of changing in the middle of the story just based on the conversation we're having, and that's why we have these conversations, to really learn. But you see a car on the lot that you want. I know for a fact you are a Jag lover. There's probably no one that's going to be able to talk you out of the type of Jag you want, the color Jag you want, and how the insides look. But the first day driving that motherfucker, if it break down on you, and then you go to the shop and everybody in there got a Jag, and they're like, man, we've been bringing this shit back and forth for years. These are no good. Then that's when you're going to go back on the fact that you stand by Jag. I don't think it's any different when you're out here dating. It's just a chance you're going to have to take.
Yeah, but see, that scenario and what you did ain't the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Because now you had one motherfucker with girth that couldn't fuck you. Then you had another motherfucker that you normally don't take that couldn't fuck you either. And you could have looked at it and said, well, there ain't no girth there. But I liked him, though. So I just thought to myself that, just let me give this a gamble. And that's a different for as far as, like, I think what men go through. For majority of the cases with me, the first time, if it's a bad time, it's over. It's a wrap. And if I can't even get to it, whether it's smell or look, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, like when women, you know, I could be dealing with a woman and I'm probably not going down on them. And they asking me questions, I would tell you, look down there. See what I see. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there are some pussies that you look at and you be like, you know
don't
what?
want to taste it.
I'll eat this shit. And then there's some pussies you look at and you like,
yeah. I have a really
I'm
big
good at
problem
this.
with like big meatus.
okay.
So, you know, it could smell good. She could be everything. But if she got a big meatus, it's just not happening. It's just something about it.
But you know why though? You saying that because you thinking about that from a head standpoint.
Yeah.
See, with me, a big meatus ain't going, my dick just going there. You know what I'm saying? You be fat a little bit, this and that. Now, I do understand what you're saying because that meatus sometimes look like a little dick.
Yeah.
Now that can question things
Real big, yeah.
in my mind. Like I might need to see your birth certificate. I might go there and you
Some
know
big ones out there.
Yeah, and I ain't trying to offend, but like if it looked like a little, you know, if it looked like a little small dick, that's when you're gonna be like size matter, and that's why I said. Does size matter? Size matters across the board.
Yeah.
You know, for everyone.
It does.
Not
It
just
really does.
you know, not just men.
Yeah. It does. How something looks, period. I mean, we basically sit down, the first 5 minutes of the conversation, you broke down flower pussy, long pussy, hanging pussy, and I've never even imagined
Because
that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
every
I'm
woman
horrified.
because every woman think they pussy is good, and every woman think that they pussy is pretty. Like
it's little.
not.
It's
Listen,
mine, by the way.
Got you.
You know
think
what I'm
that.
saying?
You think that. And it's the thing. And I'm gonna tell you this scenario that I was told a long time ago, and this is the best possible scenario that to make women understand this shit. Is that when y'all virgin, it's like a flower. Now if you take a flower and you crush that flower up, does that flower return to its original state?
No.
That's what happened when that big dick get you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that shit I don't give a fuck what y'all think. Those little tricks, and let me tell you, this is when y'all dealing with real motherfucking pimp shit. When y'all really need to know this shit does not work. Those tricks of y'all, like dushing, thinking y'all can break down walls and all that. Niggas is up on that shit, dog. Like that shit ain't fooling nobody. Like that shit return it back to its original form. Now, granted, the more I fuck you, you can, you know, form to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of women forget that type of shit too. So they be out here trying to be slick and cheat with Tyrone.
And the inside of you shaped like another nigga.
Thank
dick.
you. And then trying to come home and your man like, this spot don't feel familiar. You know what I'm saying? So that's y'all heads up for all that shit that y'all try to do.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely true because a lot of women try to get away with that shit and be like, well, because I've heard you say shit like that, like, I don't want to fuck 2 dudes at the same time, but I'll fuck this dude and then 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later fuck this dude. That 3-4 week minimum wait still don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because I still know that something was there. Now, we can respectfully have a no talk clause, you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to reveal to me who you been fucking, but just know that I know you been fucking.
That is crazy.
Truth.
But like, I don't even hear this on other podcasts.
It's a cast.
I mean, I really feel that it's not talked about because most women have sex as they bargaining chip. A lot of men don't fuck like that. Like, I've been around men that tell me their body counts is like 11 for their whole life and they in their 30s. You understand? Now, nothing is wrong with that, but if you compare, that's an average Joe, you know, just regular living, and let's say you take like now an athlete that since high school has been the popular kid, how much pussy do you think he getting?
Lots.
Exactly. So his number is going to be astronomical more than the person that's 11. So he's more experienced in pussy, but there's not a lot of men out there that's experienced like that. So that's why you don't really hear those type of conversations, because women that's dealing with those type of men.
There's no conversations about her furniture being moved and you being able to tell that she could be with somebody else and that dishes don't work and like, oh, this is all new for me.
Well, I gave that up. Like I said, that's game.
No, that's just the powerful holding the information that needs, like, this is just one of those things where y'all want to continue to control narratives. Why sit back on the fact that your pussy feel different? How could you not say, I know for a fact you've been with someone else because your pussy has a curve to it that's now curved the opposite way?
Gotcha. You know why?
That's crazy.
For the same reason why women do the exact same thing. We live in a world that's full of revenge and tit for tat. See, a lot of times, if a woman know that they man cheating, they don't sit there and be like, nigga, I know you cheating. You know what I'm saying? I smell the perfume on you. Like, they don't say any of that shit. They just sit there in silence and be like, mm-hmm. And they start plotting their plan. And at some point in time, it's some man that's gonna come through with his dick swinging on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna be like, what the pretty girl doing on this island all by yourself? And she gonna be like, this the one I'm giving that pussy to. It's just one of those things that it's not said because it's like, you feel like, damn, this motherfucker really trying to play me. And for men take that shit really personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this bitch really gonna play me. So that's why you see men like.
So y'all just making love, sitting there thinking like y'all playing each other?
I ain't gonna.
Crazy.
I'm not necessarily gonna say that because I've been in scenarios and I've heard of scenarios where it's like two motherfuckers in the house and they ain't even fucking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that goes on too because the person is like, you know, I know you fucking somebody else, but they ain't saying anything. So they just ain't giving no pussy up, or vice versa. The dude like, you know, I'm going to get my pussy somewhere else. You feel me? So those type of things do go on. So we have concluded that size does not matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but your tap-ins do. And we really hope that you guys start, we had like 4 tap-ins to choose from this week.
Oh.
I chose one that I thought was kind of boring, but I didn't want to ignore the subject. Okay. Me and my guy are both in our 40s. I've got a burst of youthful energy and made some life changes. I am full of adventure and I want to travel and party. My guy went through the opposite and feels like he's aging, and he acts like he's aging. I'm losing my attraction to him and I feel horrible. What do I do?
First, I'm trying to figure out is why do you feel like he's acting like he's aging? Like there is.
She said he feels and acts like he's aging.
That's what I just said. You cannot act like you're aging. Like if you're aging, you are. And certain people feel. The reason I'm saying this is because a lot of women. I find this. I find this a lot of complaints when it comes to women. When women women date older men. You know what I'm saying? And what they don't think about is when they get the older man, that there are things about the older man that he ain't fucking like he 20 no more. Pussy don't excite him like he's 20, 25. Like, at that age, I probably could have just saw nipples and my dick was hard. And I'm like, you know what? I'll break you in two. But as you get older, sometimes you just wake up with pains with like for no reason. Like when you in your 40s, like, you know, you roll out your bed and you like, damn, my back hurt. You ain't even worked out or nothing. But women, a lot of times, and this ain't all women, but it's some women, those older women, ever notice the motherfuckers being like yoga class and doing hot yoga and have on these tights and be in the gym and shit like that? My suggestion is if you like that, you need to get a man that's like that. But you can't have no man that he ain't acting like he aging. He is aging.
So you have to understand that. So the first bit of advice is know who you're with. Yeah. Know your partner.
And then the second thing is whether, you know, and this is something else that's not talked about too. You also have to remember that as men age, their libido is not the same. So you're gonna be dealing with ED, flat lines, all kind of shit. Like sometimes the dick just don't work. I know you got women out here that's like, what the fuck? And the thing about women is, let me tell y'all something, women. And this is definitely stop acting men like, what's wrong with you? Like, I hate when women say shit like that. If I flatline, I know I flatline. I don't need you to fuck. That's like that motherfucker, like you got a pimple on your nose and then you go to school and they be like, hey, you know you got a pimple on your nose? Like, I didn't look in the mirror this morning. Like, if I flatline, I don't need you to regurgitate that I flatline. You know what I'm saying? Help me through it. Don't be fucking perpetuating the situation. That don't do nothing. It's not helping you. It ain't helping me. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to find a different way for you to be like, well, what's wrong? Is it me? And it's not you a lot of times.
But I'm gonna rebuttal you and say, if you know you flatlined, you know you haven't been able to get it up, you know you're feeling old, you know you're feeling lazy, then why not just say that instead of biting my head off? At the end of the day, the way you are feeling about your health affects your attitude. And if your health is in the dumps, a lot of times your attitude is in the dump, and you're taking that out on me. I even think if you're feeling old and you're feeling slow, it might, if you know that, then that's the time to push yourself, because you have a partner that you're also responsible to. Is she supposed to get old and crampy with you? Or are you supposed to? My thing is, do you lower yourself to a person's standards, or do you try to lift them up?
No, but the thing is, a lot of women don't hear yourself when you sitting there saying, don't bite my head off, because y'all asking these dumbass questions on like what I'm saying, like when a motherfucker flatline. Like when the motherfucker say like he's getting old or this and that. Like I'm gonna give you an example of some shit. Like, and this just happened to my homeboy not too long ago. And he asked me about the shit. And it hadn't happened to me, but he was like, you know what, 51? He's like, I'm with my old lady, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm attracted to her, and sometimes I'm just in the zone. He said, but the problem he have a lot of time is she don't fucking listen. And this is the issue of how the fights start, where you talking about shit is being combative. He tells her his back hurt. She don't hear that, because she horny. So she trying to throw herself at a motherfucker that just told her that the back hurts. I'm trying to figure out how you think pussy, which he has to use his back and everything else, you throwing that pussy at him is gonna work. It's gonna make shit feel good. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but this is my thing, and I've said this in prior shows, and you've just said it. You know when you flatline, and you know when you're not at your best. What steps are you taking to combat those things? I don't know any woman that would see a man fall down and that's getting up and keeps trying, that's gonna down that and ask stupid questions and be a bitch when she sees he's trying. You taking Viagra every day. You done got a gym membership. You done said, hey honey, let's start at least going around the corner for a walk every night, down the street and back. That's somebody that's showing effort and not even having to say, hey, I know I'm a piece of shit.
I'll answer these questions.
Just try.
A lot of times men do try, and that's what you don't get. There are men that's they probably taking shit that you don't know. Like I just watched Slim Thug on a podcast the other day, and he was like, you know, he's someone that's be with two women at a time. He was like, look, man, I go to the gas station and get gas station pills. He was like, them motherfuckers will put you on. And the guys in there was like, what? He was like, yeah, man. He was like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
What you mean gas station pills?
See what I'm saying? So a lot of times there are like Viagra. That's basically all. That's basically all.
Just over the counter.
Yeah, so don't say like it don't. You know what I'm saying? Like men don't do that type of shit. But also like anything else, just because shit is like over the counter or whatever, don't mean that it work. It's like anything else. It's like hit or miss. So just because you take the shit, just like Viagra, you know what I'm saying? It's still hit or miss. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's why I said sometimes it is based upon your chemistry too.
Right.
Sometimes certain women can
light a fire.
Yeah. And that's just, you know, that's just what it is.
So my advice to the person that wrote in the tap in would be definitely suggesting some things, not over the top, but at least if you've discovered that and he hasn't, like y'all had the conversation, he's admitting to aging, you've admitting to, hey, I want to go. So I think it's important that the person with the complaint, mm-hmm. which is the woman, mm-hmm. she's got the complaint, then she needs to come up with at least some creative things to do. And after he blatantly turns her down, that's when there could be your first official official disagreement about it. But I think she needs to assess who she's with, come up with some things that would make them both happy doing, and give him a chance to acquiesce to that before she takes it off the deep end.
I agree with all those things, but the only thing I have to also put in is women don't push. You know what I'm saying? Like, women they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
So just because he start working out or he start eating vegetables and all, don't mean like, oh, his dick work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like,
give him some time.
Like, give him some time. And also, which is pretty hard for women, sometimes give him enough time to miss you. Also, work on your foreplay. Like,
but it's not about the sex. It's just about her wanting to go places and be vibrant, and he wants to stay in the house and be an old man.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I would have to say, was this the same motherfucker you got with back then, and he's the same person now? Because, see, a lot of times with women, they come into I'm Stella, I got my groove back. But that don't fucking mean Tyrone got his shit. You see what I'm saying? Tyrone been making his money getting old. So I'm just going to say that there are times where I know for a fact, if you say, hey, babe, you know what I'm saying, we ain't been out in a long time, you know, take you dancing, and he'll probably say, hey, we can't do it this, probably next month.
That's
you know
a
what I'm
compromise.
saying? You know what I'm saying? We can get it in. And we can rock with that. And I'm
that
good
shit
with
on
that.
the calendar. And that's our tap in, guys. Make sure you are tuning in to our Relations channel to keep up on all the newest episodes. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and IG at Kana Lassiter.
You can find your boy on both platforms. That's IG and Twitter under 51 Space. Hey, subscribe to the Instagram channel, The Relations Podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining me on Podbean and Miss Lassiter. At the end of the day, hey, you looking for the shirts, join the Instagram. It's Alpha Male God Creation, so you can order your shirts. And if you don't want to go there, go to www.alphamalegodcreations.com. And like I always say about this time,